Call to order, 6:34. Ms. Stearns, myself, and Ms. Ressler. I have no comments from the public. Old business, I have nothing. In terms of certified staff, everything on page 1 and 2, up to, page 1 and 2, those are all returning teachers already. They were either hired after November of 2015 or they were part-time. So any new teachers like that were let go in the March board meeting, and then because we like them, we either rehire them in full-time roles or back in part-time roles. So the first one real quick is a social worker we just hired in March actually, and then was let go in March. But we like her, and so we would like for her to come back to Hillcrest, graduate of the University of Missouri.
So why would that happen where you would hire them in March and then fire them in March and then rehire? Was it like a temporary position?
Part of
There's
school.
timing.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to do it 45 days, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's just been standard practice that anybody who we hire post-November, we don't have an opportunity to really evaluate
Oh, okay.
formally.
Mm-hmm.
So we release them just in case. And the school code allows us then to not have to rehire anybody we don't evaluate without any kind of, formal dismissal process or anything of that nature. So it's just makes for an easier.
So I'm just saying, if my job fired me, I'd be like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, and it's not an efficient. Typically these people like this, we know
That.
we had a vacancy. We hired somebody who we really like. We tell them, hey, this is only going to be for 3 months, but if you do well,
We'll hire you
there's a
back.
job again in the fall.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so that's the first lady. The next one is the speech path, who you probably remember that name from, I think that was the February board meeting. She took over for the speech path that left Oak Forest, graduate of Western Illinois. And you guys have all of if you have any questions about any of them, let me know. And then Nicole Donofrio, we had a Spanish teacher leave at Hillcrest in December, and so she took over in December. Okay. She also did a maternity leave in the fall, so that's how we got her and liked her. Lauren Brazel was a special ed teacher for us this year at both Oak Forest and Hillcrest High School. So we're asking her to return. Typically, we have a part-time French teacher every year, just because we don't have multiple sections of French. So Susan Lappy was a .3 teacher this year. She'll be a .8 next year. Okay. Graduate of DePaul University, the Blue Devils. Edgar Gonzalez Beza has been a part-time art teacher for us for about 10 years now, because he's also an artiste. So he's worked in all 4 of our schools in a part-time capacity.
And now he'll be hired on full-time?
No, he'll be at 50%.
Oh, he'll still be.
So he likes to, again, art is kind of one of those same things where we've always had part-time, because you have at one school you may have a full-time teacher and then a couple of more sections here. Rarely do we have 2 full-time positions in any school in art.
So given that, and just for my own
Yeah, sure.
So given that he's like part-time and does he go through this rehire every year too?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So does he get an evaluation? He doesn't get an evaluation?
No, not a formal evaluation.
Oh, okay.
No.
So he's been here for 10 years, but he doesn't get the evaluation?
Not a formal one,
Got it.
correct. But
Okay.
because they like him and he does a great job, we bring him back.
Okay.
But he does get, you can see on there, he does get step advancements. Good question. Thomas Piotrowski did .8 science this year at Bremen. You didn't see this one. This is a new one. But he is being recommended for the full-time position at Bremen for next school year. if you want, give you a second here to look at that resume.
Well, he's a red bird. He's good.
He's a red bird, he's good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Joking.
Otherwise known as Teacher University.
Exactly.
Well, that and the University of St. Francis.
Mhm.
Make sure that I mention that. Right? On this terms? There you go. So here's his resume. Student taught at Tinley, coaches soccer at Tinley. Bachelor of Science in Earth and Space Education at Redbird High, Redbird U. Okay, so that's that youngster. Then
He's fresh out of college.
Mhm.
fresh out of college. Then we have two tutor openings at Hillcrest High School. One was for a math tutor, and one is an English tutor. Again, these are $102 a day. Obviously, they're not going to be doing 140 days, but they are 4 hours per day from now until the end of the year. First one is Christina Granin, also a graduate of DePaul. So here is her resume, and you've seen this.
His resume looks familiar.
Yeah, you've seen this. This was part of the packet. And then also Christina Coswenda will be an English tutor, and she's a graduate of Governor State, and you've seen that as well. What I particularly liked about Christina Granin is she's also a current employee of Cooper Hawk.
I was ready to say.
Of which-
Is that the one in Tinley?
Yeah, of which I'm a big fan of.
I love that place.
Here's Christina's recommendation, and as I said, Christina is a graduate. She did some work in Lincoln Way. She's a graduate of Governor State. Slow me down if you need or have questions. Okay, and then the next one is a change in position. Jane Dempsey, who is the current assistant principal for student services, last month was recommended to be the assistant principal for teaching and learning at Oak Forest, which left an opening for the assistant principal for student services. So Adam Wagner, who's currently a dean at Oak Forest High School, is being recommended for the assistant principal for student services at Oak Forest at a recommended salary of $100,000. That's a 203-day position, which is essentially 10 and a half months. District pays his insurance, but not his TRS. And you haven't seen this yet, but here are all the folks that they interviewed.
So what exactly is the assistant principal for student services?
Good question. Seeing as how I'm the assistant superintendent for student services and personnel, I can answer that very well.
Okay, good.
They oversee all of the counseling services, the social work services, the dean services, and the psychology services within the school. Their main functions are to make sure that kids are academically sound, socially, emotionally sound, and prepared for college and career.
Okay.
So it's kind of the intersection between all of the other departments. To be honest with you, you've got teaching and learning certainly is an intersection there. The principals' work, the supervisors' work, the teachers' work, it kind of all crisscrosses right in student services. So, but his main responsibilities are making sure that kids are on track academically.
We're talking
and
about all kids, not
all
just
kids.
these kids taking advantage of the services.
Correct,
Mhm.
all kids.
All
Yeah,
kids.
all kids. All kids are on track academically. Any kids that are having any social or emotional issues or concerns that they're taking care of, and then all kids are prepared for college or career. So that's his job. Okay, and he is a good dude. I don't know if you've ever met him before, but he's a really good guy.
What was he before dean?
He was a dean at Crete Monique.
That's right. Okay.
So here's his resume here, Ms. Stearns. I'll go slow because you haven't seen this yet.
task force teacher. I would like to know what that was.
Where do you see that at?
Under when he was at Lockport?
Yeah. Full-time sub and task force. That's a good question. I don't know. He's student taught at Minooka Community High School, fine quality institution of lower learning. That's where I went to high school. Also at Illinois State graduate.
Another red bird.
Oh, boy.
Good. Good.
Oh, he's good now.
I'm good. No concerns.
SIU Carbondale also. He currently coaches for us as well. He will not be allowed to do that once he becomes an assistant principal. Okay, that's him. And these next ones you have seen. For our educational support personnel, we have an FMLA leave. The receptionist secretary for the assistant principal for teaching and learning had her Achilles rupture. Yeah, not good. So she is out on FMLA. And then we have a retirement. Hopefully returns to work on 4/19 for Ms. Singletary. We have a retirement from one of our supervision monitors. This is a position that gets phased out of the best union. So you know, Christine, I know you know this, Debbie, but one of those things we negotiated was anytime that a supervision monitor position retires, it's currently under the best contract.
Okay.
That position now we will replace, we have a replacement for that position. It's actually called a student assistant, and it's one of those ancillary positions that's
Okay.
just paid a daily rate without benefits.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a good thing for everybody. Her, for sure. Okay, and then the last is Adam Peach, part-time weekender. He is resigning. As of today. Okay. Anything else? Pretty short and sweet.
It is.
This time of year usually is.
Good deal.
Next meeting, May 2, 2016. Adjourn.
Adjourned.